We'll call to order the regularly scheduled virtual meeting of the Alcoholic Beverage Control Board. Tonight is Wednesday, October 7th, 2020. We're starting at 7 p.m. Board members present, we have Vice Chairman Lawrence Harris, Dick Peterson, Kia Baskerville, Elizabeth Conger, and my name is James Praley. Also present, we have City Attorney Michael Lyles, and we have the Deputy City Clerk, Cynthia Gaines. Has the board had the opportunity to review the minutes of our last meeting, September 2nd, 2020? And if so, are there any additions, corrections, modifications?
I move they be approved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor for the approval of the minutes. All those in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
All right, the minutes will stand as approved. Before we begin our regular business, because this is a virtual meeting, I'd like to state on the record that since it's a virtual hearing, anybody who wishes to submit public testimony may do so by way of written testimony to be submitted as part of the official record. Anybody who wishes to submit written testimony may do so by going to www.annapolis.gov/ABC. Moving on, I will now declare the public hearing open. And first item on our agenda for the public hearing is an application for a transfer of an alcoholic beverage license by Market SPS LLC, trading as Harvest Wood Grill and Tap. Before us, we have an application for the transfer of a Class B4 XABG beer, wine, and liquor license on sale 6 a.m. to 12 midnight, 7 days per week with a special Sunday license. In addition, sales is authorized from 12 midnight to 2 a.m. In addition, off sale Monday through Saturday during hours. In addition, off sale Sunday during authorized hours, which constitutes the special Sunday license, and refillable container with current off sale privilege by Roberta Pardo, Juan Pardo, and Joydeep Som for the premises known as Market SPS LLC, trading as Harvest Wood Grill and Tap, located at 26 Market Space, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401. And who do we have here tonight on behalf of the LLC?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Alan Hyatt on behalf of the LLC and the prospective licensees.
Excellent. And who else do we have here, Mr. Hyatt? Anybody who's going to testify?
We have Dr. Som, Dr. Pardo, and Mrs. Pardo, and they're the prospective licensees. And then we have John Arison as a expert witness for us.
Excellent. Now, if everybody who's planning on testifying could raise their right hand so I can administer the oath. Do you solemnly swear and affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you are about to give is true and correct?
I do.
Yes.
And then if we can go around, starting with Mr. Som, if we could get your, I guess you have the correct spelling of your name on your little caption, but if we could get your address for the record, please.
Sure. My name is Joydeep Som. My address is 519 Scrimshaw Lane. That's in Severna Park, Maryland, 21146.
Okay, and then if we can go to Mr. Aronson, if we can get your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, my name is John Arison, Arason, 707 Glendon, Glendon Avenue, Annapolis, 21403.
Okay, and then we'll start with Ms. Pardo. If we could get your full name and address, full spelling, please.
Yes, I'm trying.
No problem.
Oh, here it is. I'm sorry. Actually, I'm echoing on my husband's. The address is 513 Scrimshaw Way in Severna Park, Maryland, 21146. And the name is Roberta Pardo.
Okay. And Mr. Pardo, same address?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Mr. Hyatt, go ahead and begin your presentation.
Thank you. The applicants tonight are, or 2 out of 3 of the applicants are ENT doctors practicing in Annapolis. And the third applicant is Mrs. Pardo. Just for the record and for purposes of clarification, our Exhibit 1, you have a package from us, and Exhibit 1 is the application. In number 14, the application indicates that there are no other parties interested in the licensee, but the fact is, it's Dr. Som and his wife, Deborah Som, each owning 25%, along with Dr. Pardo and Mrs. Pardo. So there are 4 owners of the limited liability company. I just want the record to reflect that, and that would be a change to number 14. Other than that, it's accurate. The establishment here has been licensed probably long before Ms. Conger lived in the neighborhood, would be my guess. The establishment, I recall it being licensed in the late 1970s. It was once called the Upper Crust Saloon, and then it became Reardon's. Mr. Reardon, Mike Reardon, was an NBA or a retired NBA basketball player when he opened up his establishment. He ran it for many years, and then it's gone through a couple of iterations. The property owner is the family has owned the property for many, many years. Mr. Florestano, Dana Florestano, owns the property, and I think he may have inherited it, and it's been in his family for years. And so what's going on now is that an entity related to the LLC that we just spoke of, owned by the same individuals, is going to be purchasing the property at 26 Market Space, and simultaneously is purchasing the assets of the business. So that's why we're asking for the transfer. The licensees are not going to operate it day to day. I've kiddingly asked the doctors whether they were going to give up their medical practices to dispense beer, and they respectfully declined. They're not going to do that. But the operator is an experienced, legitimate operator. The manager is going to be Kyle Fox, and you probably have had some contact with him, and I know you know some of his siblings, and they've been active in the Annapolis restaurant businesses for a long time, particularly downtown. The proposed licensees do know that they are responsible. We've had that discussion. I have provided them with a set of your rules and regulations, and they have actually been TIPS trained. Mr. Fox is TIPS trained and crowd control trained, so he's prepared to operate in an efficient manner on behalf of the licensees. John Arison has been asked to testify tonight. He has testified before this board as an expert witness. And while this isn't a new license, there's still certain standards that have to be satisfied, even for a transfer. And Mr. Arison, who's the former director of planning and zoning in the city, has testified on numerous occasions before this board about the public need and accommodation to the public for licenses. And I would ask that he be accepted as an expert witness in that field.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. So I'll have a few questions for each of the licensees. You know, I'll try to be as brief as possible, but I want you to get to know them. And certainly if you have any questions for them, they're here to respond to you. And then Mr. Arison will talk about, in his view, what the need is for this particular license. And then one maybe housekeeping matter that I would like to get on the record is this. The establishment closed Sunday, this past Sunday, and hopefully we will get your approval on the transfer. Then there's going to be a closing. That is anticipated to be Friday. The new owners will go in, clean up the place. There's a little bit of repair work that's underway right now, and then they have to get their final use and occupancy certificate. I don't want to run the risk of the establishment being closed for 10 consecutive days. You know, that's one of your rules. And so if you are inclined to approve the transfer, I would ask for, let's say, up to 2 weeks. I don't think we're going to need it, but up to 2 weeks to do whatever is necessary to clean the establishment, obtain the use permit just to be ready and don't want to start off in violation of the rules. Okay, so with that, I would call Dr. Som and just tell the board what it is you do for a living, please.
Sure. I'm a physician here in Annapolis, and ear, nose, and throat physician practicing out of Anne Arundel Medical Center. Have been here since 2001, and we have the one location I practice with Dr. Michael Pardo as well.
What prompted you and your partners to decide to invest in the restaurant business in downtown Annapolis?
Well, the initial motivation was to actually acquire the property at 26 Market Space. Obviously, there's a restaurant in it. During these pandemic times, it's not easy to find a restaurateur, so we partnered with somebody who's very experienced in the business, and Kyle Fox. We had known the Andrew Fox from a few other properties that we own in the area, just the property building, but not in the restaurant business. But through that experience of knowing how Andrew ran his business and meeting with Kyle, we felt this would be a successful venture with Kyle running the restaurant operations in a building that we will own.
So it's accurate to state that you and your wife and Dr. Pardo and his wife each own 25% in the limited liability company that we described at
Yes.
the beginning. Okay. And Mr. Fox does not own any interest in the LLC, but he's working for the LLC as the manager of the establishment. Is that the proposal?
Yes, he's going to be our on-site manager running operations.
And you know that he is tips trained and crowd control trained. As a matter of fact, we sent to Ms. Gaines a copy of the tip certification and crowd certification. You know, I would offer that into the record.
Yes, we are absolutely aware of that.
Okay, yep. And you don't have any other interest in any alcoholic beverage license? Is that accurate?
Yes, that's accurate.
But you have not had experience in selling alcoholic beverages before? Okay. All right. And you are aware, as I stated in the opening, that you are responsible, you and the other licensees, for what goes on in this establishment with respect to the sale of alcohol, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And
we understand that.
Yeah, and you've completed the application accurately, other than that minor change on number 14 that I mentioned, right?
Correct, yes.
You have received a copy of the rules and regulations of the board, of this board?
Yes.
And you're familiar with them?
Yes.
Do you intend to make any significant changes in the operation of the business once you acquire it?
No.
Hours of operation more or less the same?
They intend to be the same, yes.
And the menu more or less the same?
Yes.
And as a matter of fact, we've sent to Ms. Gaines a copy of the menu. I would offer that into the record as well. And the seating capacity, that's the same floor plan, all that is, we submitted it into to the city, but that's all going to be pretty much the same. Is that right?
Yes.
And you have the right to have certain types of entertainment, and you're aware of that?
Yes.
And you're aware of the restrictions on that?
Yes.
And you do understand that there has to be someone on the premises at all times that's a tips trained and crowd certification trained. You do understand that?
Absolutely.
Okay, very good. I have no further questions for Dr. Som.
Okay.
Shall I move on to my next witness?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'll call Dr. Pardo. And just really a couple of follow-up questions. You also have a set of the rules and regulations from this board, right?
I do.
And you're aware that despite the fact that you may not be working there day to day, it is your responsibility what goes on in the establishment, right?
I am.
And you're actually tips trained, aren't you?
I am.
Are all of the questions that were answered by you on the application accurate in all respects as far as you know?
Yes.
And have you ever held an alcoholic beverage license before?
I have not.
And since you answered all the questions accurately, obviously never been convicted of any kind of a crime.
I have not.
Very good. And you've been a voter for the last 2 years and a resident of Anne Arundel County. Is that also true?
I have.
Okay. Good. Thank you. I have no other questions for Dr. Pardo. And I would just, Mrs. Pardo, just a couple of questions for you in a similar vein. You have a set of the rules and regulations, right?
Yes, I do.
Right. And as an owner and licensee, you know you're bound to adhere to those rules and regulations.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. And you have a 25% interest in the entity I spoke of, and your tips trained and
That's
accurately,
most correct. Yes.
okay, and accurately answered all the questions in the application. Is that all correct?
Yes.
All right. Thank you. Then I would ask a few questions for Mr. Arison, if that's okay.
Sure.
And Mr. Arison, just you've been accepted and qualified as an expert witness, but if you would just tell the members of the board a little bit about your background and why you're able to testify on the subject matter.
Okay, well, I've got a master's degree in urban and regional planning from the University of Virginia, which is usually held against me here in Maryland, but
Yes, sir.
talk honestly about it. I've got over 30 years of experience in local government planning in Cheyenne, Wyoming, Loveland, Colorado, and then I've been in Annapolis since 1987. And I was planning director here for about almost 20 years. And I've been in private consulting business since about 2014, testifying on various matters and doing some local government planning.
You're familiar then with the provisions of the Maryland Code and the City of Annapolis Code concerning alcoholic beverage licenses?
Yes, I am.
You know where this property is located, 26 Market Space?
Yes, I do.
Have you visited the location?
Yes.
Professionally?
Well, I could be a factual witness as well as an expert witness if you'd like.
Okay. Right. So we've asked you to analyze the public need and the impact that this license may have on the community and its uniqueness related in the services that it offers and will offer compared to the other establishments. And obviously there's a number of licensed establishments in the vicinity, and that seems to be where licensed establishments have ended up in town. And I would just ask you to comment on why you believe it's appropriate to have a license at 26 Market Space.
Yeah, thank you, Alan. Well, as you said, there's been a restaurant with a liquor license here and a bar for a long time. These are almost, this and the other establishments around it are almost legacy establishments. The main business, I believe, for these establishments is actually visitors. It's not necessarily the demographics of the local population, although a lot of local people do frequent these establishments. And this is sort of a food and entertainment area of the city that's well frequented. And I think having a variety of establishments there gives people a variety of choices, which is why that area is so popular.
Did you also consider the fact that there are a number of other establishments in the nearby vicinity? Did you consider
Yes,
that?
I did. I looked at 6 in the vicinity: McGarvey's, Iron Rooster, Federal House, Buddy's, O'Brien's, and Middleton's. You know, they all have a different type of ambiance. I mean, they're similar in so far as they all are restaurants with a bar and liquor license, but they all have different decor, different ambiance. And I reviewed the menus, and there's subtle differences between the menus of all the establishments, which gives everyone who wants to dine out, and I mean that literally right now, you know, options to choose from in terms of the cuisine that they want and how it's going to be prepared. So there are commonalities between these establishments, but they are unique as well.
Given the visitors that come to the area and any other demographic data that you might be familiar with, do you think the town can support this particular license?
Oh yeah, the town
And it has.
It has supported this license. I mean, the advantage of a transfer even though we have to look at it, as if it were new, is that what the impacts are. The community knows what the impacts are, and it's been supported and will continue to be supported.
Along those lines, do you feel that there's anything that may go on in this establishment that would negatively impact the convenience and safety and welfare of the nearby community?
Well, historically, it's been shown to have minimal or no impact. And I think with the TIPS training and the crowd control training, I think with Mr. Fox running it as well, that it's not going to have any negative impacts on the public health, safety, or welfare. There will be no increases in crime or anything like that.
So is it fair to say that your conclusion is that the granting of this license would be an accommodation to the public and to
Yes.
the community?
Absolutely.
All right, thank you. Mr. Chairman, just for housekeeping purposes, again, I would offer the exhibits into the record from our packet. I guess it's 1 through 13, and then we have some additional exhibits that we sent to Ms. Gaines, which is an affidavit of posting, affidavit of mailing, Mr. Fox's certifications, Mr. Harrison's CV, and the menu.
All of those will be accepted and be made part of the record.
All right, thank you. Unless there are any questions by the members of the board, I would respectfully ask that this board approve the transfer of the license.
Sure, let's see. Do any members of the board have any questions for Mr. Hyatt or any of the applicants?
Mr. Chairman, I don't really have any questions, but I do want to suggest to Dr. Som, Dr. Pardo, Mrs. Pardo, and I'm sorry Kyle isn't here, but we're happy that you're all TIPS trained, but we are really recommending that all the employees who deal in alcohol, it's not a requirement, but it's a recommendation, that all employees do become TIPS trained.
Yes, we would agree to that.
I believe Kyle's on the call.
Kyle he's just video, but he's been here. Yeah.
I didn't realize that, but that's good. So hopefully you heard me.
Hopefully he did. Yes.
He may not have figured out how to unmute yet. He said he's pretty green to the Zoom thing.
Mr. Hyatt, I don't know if you have been able to see the public comments that we received on this, but we have received 2 public comments, and I just like to make those part of the record here. We received a comment from a Miss Judy Jones voicing opposition to this transfer, essentially indicating that she's against the sale of alcoholic beverages from 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. 7 days a week. And the idea of selling off sale right now should be curtailed until it's safe to do so. I don't know if you've received a copy of the public.
I did not. No, I didn't.
I just wanted to make you and the applicants aware that they're going to be under a microscope by some members of the community who are close by. She resides at 10 Fleet Street, Annapolis.
Yep.
And then we also received another comment from Eric Evans, who is part of, if not the head of the Downtown Annapolis Partnership, indicating that Harvest Wood Grill and Tap has an outstanding debt to the Downtown Annapolis Partnership of $854.21. I don't know if anybody's, obviously you haven't looked into it because this is the first you're hearing of it. I don't know if Cindy has anything to comment on with respect to that, other than Mr. Evans has placed something or filed something with the board through the internet, through the comment box, that there is some sort of an outstanding debt allegedly to the Downtown Annapolis Partnership. And that would be from Harvest Wood Grill and Tap. I'm guessing the current owners, but those are just 2 public comments that
right. That presumably that's the current owner, and as a purchasing entity, we get an affidavit from the seller.
Understood.
Of the bar. Yeah. So I don't know.
Understood. I just wanted to make
Yep.
the comments that we received. I wanted to make sure that we place them on the record. Another another issue that I believe was brought up is the fire marshal said that there were several fire code violations that needed to be addressed. Again, I don't know if you're aware of that. It's just something that that came up in the packet of materials that this board was handed. It didn't necessarily specify. I don't know if Cindy knows any more of the details on the fire marshal violations. That's just something that we had received, and it looks like that email was sent September 17th. So I don't know if they've been rectified. I just wanted to float that out there. So that will be something that needs to get addressed.
Right, and we will. We can't get our use permit until we.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah, we're in the process of that right now. Yes.
Great.
Mr. Chairman.
Hold on. I think Dick Cindy wants to say something real quick.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, in Mr. Evans' letter, he did suggest that this license not be approved until that $850 some debt was cleared up.
Right.
Go ahead. I don't know how we want to address that.
That's something that we can address if in the motion that would be made. It may be contingent on that debt being satisfied, as well as these fire issues being taken care of. Cindy, did you have something to say?
Yes, additionally today, I received a letter from the comptroller's office also saying that they have done an audit of the accounts and they are allegedly delinquent in Maryland corporate tax payments. So they've made a request that the license not be released until they have
We lost you
the last couple.
So the comptroller's office has asked that the license not be released until these things are addressed and taken care of.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, we did receive notice from the comptroller.
Okay.
And we were directed to hold certain funds in escrow pending resolution. Ms. Gaines, is this from sales tax or personal property tax, or which division?
Okay, in the notice that I received, there was Maryland corporate tax.
Corporate tax. Are you able to send that to us tomorrow? Okay, that would be helpful. I want to make sure that's not something different, because we've already received several notices and we're prepared to satisfy them, out of any proceeds due to the seller.
Okay. So in all likelihood, if this transfer is approved by the board, it'll be contingent on those specific issues being satisfied. But that shouldn't be a problem since you want.
That's fine. No, that's
potentially.
I would expect that.
Sure. Okay. Does the board have any other questions? Okay. All right. Hearing none. Mr. Hyatt, anything else you'd like to add?
No, I don't think so. But, just understand we're going to satisfy all the claims that we know about.
Oh, I have no doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind. Do I hear a motion for this request for the transfer of a Class B4 XABG beer, wine, and liquor license on sale 6 a.m. to 12 midnight, 7 days per week, special Sunday license? In addition, sales is authorized from 12 midnight to 2 a.m. In addition, off sale Monday through Saturday during hours. In addition, off sale Sunday during authorized hours, and refillable container with current off sale privilege by Roberta Pardo, Juan Pardo, Joy Deep Psalm for the premise located at 26 Market Space, Annapolis, Maryland 21401, known as Market SPS LLC, trading as Harvest Wood Grill and Tap, with the contingency that all outstanding debts be satisfied to the comptroller and the fire marshal.
Move for approval, Mr. Chairman.
I second that.
Motion has been properly moved and seconded. Any additional comments or discussion from the board?
I know the Pardell name well, and I just want to say I wish you guys luck. You've got a great doctor family. That's as much as I know, but
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nobody's opposed. Your request is granted. Good luck to y'all.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Bye.
All right. Next item, we have a request for an open to the public event number 1 to the American Legion Cook Pinckney Post 141 for an annual crab feast scheduled on October 11th, 2020 from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. Location 1707 Forest Drive, Annapolis, Maryland 21403. And who is here for the American Legion? Nobody.
Here we go again.
Yep. Sure. What's up?
I would just say that want to make a note that this is the second request from them, second non.
I'm sorry,
You're right,
Cindy.
Cindy. I'm having a hard time hearing you though.
You hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would just, say what Dick has said, and that this is the second time that they have requested to come before the board, and the second time that they've not shown up for the meeting.
Yeah. And they had 2 before us tonight too. Okay. Oh, well.
Yeah, their New Year's Eve party, they still have time
They got some serious time for the new.
in November, but they sure don't for the crab feast.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I would only suggest here that we make sure that on that October 11th date, that they do not go ahead and perform the activity that they have requested. And given the idea that they were not sure that they were supposed to attend this hearing, because as we've all noticed, this is the second time this year, and we had this happen last year as well.
Add to everyone that they confirmed for both meetings. I respond to the invitation.
Can we send them a letter, Cindy, saying you missed the boat?
You do whatever the board would like.
Yeah, I think a letter or an email, just making sure that they understand that they didn't get their license for failure to appear before the board, and they can't, operate, or they can't serve beer, whatever else they were trying to serve for their crab feast. There's still time to reapply for the New Year's.
And Mr. Chair, it'll be quite difficult for them to have an event if there's more than 100 people in one location without social distancing. So I don't even know how they think they can even have a crab feast if it's going to be more than 50, 75 people in one location.
Sure.
I do believe that it was scheduled for outside, at least partially.
Okay.
Yeah. But Cindy, if you wouldn't mind, maybe an email is easiest. Just making sure that they're aware that because they didn't appear, we were unable to consider their application. But if they have to reapply or try to get on next month's agenda for their New Year's party, they're love to have them.
Will do.
Thank you. Okay. The next item, we have a request from Stan and Joe's, located at 33 West Street, Annapolis, Maryland 21401, for the use of the adjacent parking lot for alcohol and food service 2 a.m. And who is here on behalf of Stan and Joe's?
I'm here, Joe McGovern. I'm the owner. Timmy, you said 33 West. It's 37 West. I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry. 37 West. I apologize.
I don't want to have a party at someone else's house.
No,
I mean, I do, but they might not be expecting me.
No, 37 West Street. So why don't you explain what you're looking for, Mr. McGovern, and we'll see what we can do.
Quite frankly, gang, we have a tent that once we get permission, we're going to put in our parking lot. Now, we've done events over the past 15 years there with a very good response and using all of our safety and plastic and tips and all that. Quite frankly, we're allowed to have people, and there's been some confusion, and I don't want to draw you into that and make this longer than it has to be, but the short version is, being part of the recovery zone, we are allowed to put furniture and tents in our parking lot just when West Street is closed from Wednesday, 5 to 11 through Sunday, 5 to 11. So West Street's closed. We have the bands and stuff in the street, the recovery zone. I was hoping to be able to keep serving alcohol in the patio. The parking lot from 11 when the recovery zone has me closed to 2 a.m. And this tent that I'm hoping to get, upon your approval, of course, will be attached to my patio. So it's just basically an extension, because quite frankly, if you know Stan and Joe's, you know it's a small old pub. And at 50%, I have maybe, if I'm lucky, 30 diners inside and another 20 out of what is normally 100 and plus. And even with fingers crossed, we get up to 75% and even 100% with social distancing. Yeah, you're all family. We've been doing this for years. I'm struggling, guys. And if I could use this tent to get some of the late night business that we get a lot of the local bartenders and a lot of servers that come up to Stan and Joe's at West Street, have their post shift drink and some wings or a burger or something. And I'm hoping to be able to use that tent and those probably socially distancing, maybe 30 more people from 11 to 2. And it would be socially distanced. There would be no music, etc. Yes, Dave. Yes, sir.
I enjoyed seeing your dog, but you do realize the county executive's orders that all alcohol stops at 10 o'clock.
Not according to the city.
According to the city, according to Mayor Gavin, he said 11 o'clock. Now, we have stopped serving at 10 o'clock, and then we have that extra hour, and if they have a beer in front of them, they can finish it. We're not serving after 10 o'clock, but I've been serving on my patio. So the inside is closed, right? The pub is closed, but our outdoor patio has been serving till 2 a.m. I was told that was okay.
Yeah, we'll get the city attorney to talk to that. My understanding was 10 o'clock alcohol, 11 o'clock food. Where do we stand on that?
The new Pittman, right? The new Pittman edict. But yeah, we've been doing that for the past week or whatever it's been, but we've still been keeping the outside patio open. I have 20 seats out there, a tent with a heater and a television. You know, people are watching the baseball playoffs, that kind of stuff. That's been going till 2 a.m. And if we want the whole story, when we got a letter from the city saying that I could either do the parking lot till 11, sorry, or the patio till 2. I could do one or the other, but not both. Now, I've had some letters coming from Gavin and Brian, their offices, basically saying I can do the patio, which is on my property, my 2 a.m. license, and now I can do the parking lot till 11. I'm just trying to see if I could, since I already have the tent up and I have a heater out there, if I could stay open during the recovery zone hours till 2 a.m. Socially responsible, of course. You guys know me. I take this very seriously. So that's my question. Getting 20, 30 more seats during the COVID will help tremendously. And, if it's contingent on we keep the tent until the COVID ends, God willing, in March or whatever, if not tomorrow would be better. But so that's my request. I'm requesting to use the existing tent that will be out there for recovery zone stuff, like tonight. The West Street's closed. Did we put anything in the parking lot, Tracy?
No.
So yeah, we're not using the parking lot until I got my clarification from you guys. I want to do it right.
All right. Mr. Lyles, you don't mind chiming in with your take. Sorry to throw you on the hot spot right there.
Yes. Well, herein lies the essential problems with all that's going on with the pandemic. Basically, what the mayor is doing under his authority is allowing for an extension of the liquor license within certain limits. However, the mayor has recognized, based on our advice, that that authority does have limits with respect to changing the liquor license authority. So we have indicated that the city will try as best we can to stay within the liquor license authority granted to each establishment. That's why Mr. McGovern is here before you, because we in some way do not think that the authority extends very much, given that the county has increased times, one, and two, the amount of people that can be inside has increased over time by the governor's order. So we've asked for establishments to try to work within their liquor license. And that's why Mr. McGovern is here. If you decide to grant an extension of his liquor license for this period of time, then you're free to do that, and you have the authority under state law to do that. And that would be up to you. But we think that the mayor's order and the emergency orders do have some limits, and we're trying to work within those as best we can. But unfortunately, we're in a kind of an uncharted territory with all of this.
That's the truth.
But the board, if you were to grant this establishment a license to extend his license onto the parking lot, as I reviewed the law, you can do that. And I would just suggest that it be, tightly contained, and there'd be some limitations on that you can come up with the establishment.
I've got no problem with the parking lot, but what I'm really concerned about I'm getting conflicting reports of how late alcohol can be served in the state of Maryland, Anne Arundel County, and now, according to Joe, city of Annapolis. So that's where I'm looking for a clarification. I mean, God, if he can use that parking lot and bring in some more business, I understand that. It's a fantastic thing to do. But I just want to be sure that when we grant something, that we are not stepping on anybody's toes.
Sure.
Right, and there's from what I've been reading, the state has been doing surprise visits to establishments around the area. So it's going to be important to adhere to the current laws with COVID.
Yeah, the city has some authority with respect to the emergency order that we have, which is an outgrowth of the county and the state's emergency order. So we can do a little more. We have chosen, along with advice from our health officer, to do one additional hour. We can probably do some more research on it, but I do not think that anything this board does should be more than what the state allows, the state or the city allows, because what we're trying to do in the city is have uniformity with respect to how late these establishments are open. So, but in this particular case, I think right now this establishment needs to have authority to even serve alcohol in the parking lot up to a certain point in time. And so that's the first level of decision. And then second is whether the time that they're requesting is appropriate.
Okay, with your guidance, I'm going to make a motion. We allow serving in the parking lot. But we will need further guidance on how late they can serve alcohol.
Well, right now the city is restricting alcohol to 11 o'clock. Okay. So that would be the latest, and that's consistent across the board. And mainly we're responding to the issues related to the pandemic, which
of course,
we know is the later the individuals go and they're drinking, not eating, but drinking, the more the effect of crowds and, you know, the lackadaisical attitude with masking and distancing. So that's why the mayor decided that 11 was appropriate.
Okay, then I make my motion, being that yes, they can use the parking lot, but alcohol sales must stop under the city regulations. Can you live with that, Joe?
Of course. I mean, of course. Anything is better than nothing, and I appreciate your guys' thoughts. I'd love 2 a.m. because that gives me 3 more hours, but I also understand we are a nation that is sick, and we got to fix it. Yeah, I of course, whatever you guys decide, I will do my best and do a good job. I mean, I'd love 2 a.m. maybe just on the weekends, but if this is not a negotiation, I completely understand that.
Yeah.
But maybe in a month or 2 we could revisit it.
Well, for the board's purposes, the city is following the health director's guidance.
Of course.
And so
Sure.
even if the county is at 10 and we're at 11, we're still relying on the guidance of our health official. And so there is some flexibility for the city because we are an urban core, but we're really trying to get people out of this crowded situation in a decent hour. Plus,
I agree with that 100%. So,
yeah, I do too. I mean, I get it.
My motion,
If
my motion stands.
Yeah, if there, okay, your motion stands to allow the extension into the parking lot until 11 p.m. 7 days.
Correct.
I second the motion.
Motion. Oh, hold on, Cindy.
I'd just like to know how long are you authorizing the use of the parking lot?
Until the lift of the executive order, or the Dick, it's your motion.
Yeah, Joe's thinking it's going to be March. I think the COVID rules are going to be going on longer than that. So I don't know. So I would say, let's say till June 1st.
Till June 1st?
Or until the COVID rules change.
Okay. And then, yeah, obviously, Joe, you could always come back and ask for a continuation or a modification if that.
Okay.
So, all right. So, Dick, why don't you throw the motion together really quickly one last time, and we'll see if we can get it through.
I make a motion that Stan and Joe's is allowed to use their parking lot. Joe, be sure and get a 10 permit, and that all alcohol sales must stop at 11 o'clock, and this will go till either the end of COVID or June 1st.
And
hold on 1 second, Joe. Do we have a second on the motion?
I'll second that.
Joe, go ahead.
Now that will not affect my 2 a.m. outdoor patio license, correct?
As far as alcohol sales, yeah. Don't sell any alcohol after 11 o'clock, period.
Period. So you guys are closing me at 11 o'clock.
We aren't closing you.
Yeah.
We're not closing. I know that. It's whatever. It's people who are in much higher power than we are.
I get that, guys. I'm not trying to be disrespectful in any way, but up until right now, I've been saying open until 2 a.m. for months, and now I'm losing 3 hours of business. But that's not anything we can solve here.
No, that's not up for us. I mean, I don't think we can really comment. Maybe Attorney Lyles can give you further info on that.
If I might, Mr. Chair,
sure.
This motion and this application is just about the parking lot.
Absolutely.
Any consideration of anything else would be improper and not before you at this time.
Sure.
So just maybe stay just focused on the parking lot. Everything else is probably going to be a matter of executive decision at the mayor's level, and we may come back and have something totally different next month. But right now, I think what's before you, and I think the motion is proper, and the second is proper. Parking lot till 11 o'clock, till
the end of
point
COVID,
in the
or
future.
June 1st.
Yes.
Yes, later. So, all right. So the motion's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Nobody opposed. You got partway there.
All right, guys. As always, guys, I appreciate all you do for the city, and everyone be safe, and we'll see you when we see you.
Thanks, Joe. You too.
Thank you.
All right. Our next items have to be dealt with in an executive session. So I declare the public hearing closed, and I would move that we adjourn and reconvene in an executive session. Second? Anybody second?
Second.
Second the motion.
All right. All those in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
All right. We will reconvene, and I will not close this out this time.